head if it wasn't attached. Does anybody have any 7 stuff that we want to talk about? 7-1, 7-2, going once, going twice. Sold. Okay. 3 in 2 parts though. So we're going to do these measures of central tendency today, and then the next time we'll look at I think dispersion, but I'd have to double check. So the 3 measures of central tendency are the 3 M's: mean, median, and mode. So median is the the middle value. That's okay. So to find the median of the distribution, you range all the values from smallest to largest. If the number of observations is odd, then the median is just the center observation. If the number of observations is even, then you take the average of the middle 2. So again, example, I start by arranging in order. I'm going to use a stem and leaf plot to do that. And then if I count from the end, like 1 from each end, and just keep counting inward, I end up with these as my 2 values. So that represents 20 and 25 minutes respectively. I take the average of those, and that's 22.5. The mean is our most common measure of center. The symbol we use to abbreviate the mean is this X with a bar on top of it. I will use that in place of the word mean. It is important that you know when you look at X bar that just means find the mean, or that represents the mean. So if we have n observations, I label those x1, x2, x3, x4, all the way to xn. The mean is the sum of those observations divided by n. So one way that we'll often represent these formulas in statistics, where we end up having to add things up, is we're going to use this sigma notation. So if I look at this symbol here, I read this as the sum from 1 to k, starting at 1, of f of I times x of I. So that's the frequency at which that observation occurs, multiplied by the observation, divided by n, where n is just the number of observations. So again, if you look at the equation sheet on your exam, like this is what it's going to look like. So you need to be able to look at this and read this and go, okay, we're just adding up the observations or whatever, but you should be able to look at that and understand, like, what is this asking me to do? Would I ask you to write it this way yourself? No. You just need to be able to read it and understand what it means. You don't have to actually make one yourself. Okay? So let's look at an example. Again, here's that same data set about commute times. So again, I'm going to add them all up. When I do that, I get 625. When there's 20 observations, divide by 20, I get 31.25. How does that compare to the median? We did that just a few minutes ago, right? The median was 22.5. The mean was 31.25. What is that saying? Why are the two so different, though? It's kind of a big difference between them. What do you think? These are both measures of center, trying to describe the center of this data set. They are like 33% different. It's kind of a big difference. Like, why so much? So if I look at my data set, these guys are potential outlier, right? So I have values of 60, 60, and 65, and 85. What are those going to do to the mean? Are they going to make the mean higher or lower? Higher, because these are bigger values than the average of the rest of them, right? These outliers are dragging the mean harder than they would drag the median, because the median is just the middle value, right? So even if I had like a measure of like 10,000 here, that's going to massively affect my mean, but the median would still be in the same spot if I replaced the 85 with 10,000. Everybody agree? Okay. So FYI, this work that we've shown here, see how I've put the little ellipse there and not written out every single number? What do you think? Is that okay to do? Is that an acceptable notation to just take, like, you get the idea, ... and then write the answer? Yeah, it is. It's okay. You do enough to demonstrate that you know what the formula is. No one expects to see 20 numbers written down on your piece of paper with plus signs in between them, because, like, stab me in the eye, that sounds terrible. Imagine if the data set was 150 measurements or, 1,000 measurements. Like, nobody wants to see that. Nobody expects to see that. Just do enough so that you've demonstrated you know what to do. Put an ellipse in there, write the last number, do it on a computer or calculator, and be done with it. You don't have to write it all down. Okie dokes. Okay. What if we want to do a mean where I'm given a frequency table? So here, I could do this two ways. Again, when I add this up, I could either write 0 plus 0 plus 5 times, and then write plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So you do that 3 times, and then same thing. Or what I would do is I would do 0 times 5 plus 1 times 3 plus 2 times 3, etc. To find my mean there. Everybody feel okay? What would the median be? Can we tell by looking at this? Well, let's see, 5 off of this side, 5 off of this side, 3 off of this side, 3 off of this side, and then 1 from each side puts the last 2 as 2s. I think the median's going to be 2. Does that feel okay with how I did that? Yeah. Just kind of counted inward. What if we've done this? I have a frequency chart, but instead of having individual measurement, we have classes or a grouping of lots of measurements. What do I do here? Excellent. Yes, you have to use a mid-interval value. So I'll start by calculating the mid-interval value. So 0 plus 4 is 2, 5 plus 7, or plus 9 is 7. And really, what would I be doing here? I would be doing like yeah, it doesn't matter. It's fine. So I do this, get my mid-interval value, and then I'll do 1 times 2 plus 4 times 7 plus 8 times 12, etc. So there my median shoe size, or number of shoes owned, is 14.8. I'm sorry, mean number of shoe size or shoes owned is 14.8. Where would if I went back here, what would the median value be? Like I do 1 from there and there, 4 and 4, and if I take 7 off of here and 7 off of there, you have 1 left. It'd be in this 10 to 14. So I'd have the medians in there somewhere, so probably call it a mid-interval value of 12. Is there an easy way to do this on our calculator? Yes. Yeah, pull your calculator out. Let's see it. All right. So I'm going to start by turning my calculator on. I'm going to press the Stat button. And then from the Edit tab, I'm going to select the Edit command. And then I'm going to enter in my data. So in L1, I'll enter in my mid-interval value. In L2, I'm going to enter in my frequency list. Everybody okay so far? Once I've done that, I'm going to enter in blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. Yup, we said that. We did that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Exit back to the main screen, so second mode to get out of there. And then you're going to go back to Stat. You're going to move over to the Calc menu, or tab, I should say, and pick the command 1var_stats. That stands for one variable statistic, because our one variable is the shoe size, right? Okay. Once I'm in there, it's going to ask me for a list, a variable list, right? And then a frequency list. So my variable is in L1. So I want to set that as L1. My frequency list is set at L2. To get the frequency, you press second, or I'm sorry, to get the lists, you press second and like the number 2 to get L2. Second and the number 3 to get the L3, etc. if you needed it. Second and the number 2.
That's not how you do it. Come on.
No, you just have a different cut.
Yeah, it's just what let's get the calculator from 30 years ago.
What? You got a calculator from 30 years ago? You need help?
Yeah.
What's going on? Show me what you got.
Yeah, because my brain. What is this? This is a paper.
Do you have to put like an arrow?
You need a comma between them.
Oh.
So if I do 1 var stat, I'll do L1, comma, L2. There you go.
There we go. It does work.
So again, you press stat, you go calc, you do 1 var stat. List should be L1. Frequency is L2. Calculate. And there's our summary. Which one are we interested in? X bar is mean. That's what we're looking for. I know, it's really exciting. Mode. How do we find mode? It's the most frequently occurring. So if you have individual measurements, you're going to get a mode. If you have a grouped measurement, like you have groupings, then you have a modal class. So the mode could be an individual measurement, or it could be a group of measurements. That would be a modal class. So to find the modes, we just have to count. Worth pointing out to you, if you look at your calculator. No, does it not give us one of those? I thought it did. Okay, never mind. All right, so we have these 3 measures of center, correct? Mean, median, and mode. When to use which one? This is the important part, because the calculation of these things are trivial. The when to use them is the part that you have to think about. The median is usually better than the mean for describing a skewed distribution or a distribution with outliers, as we noted earlier with the commute times. Use mean only for reasonably symmetric distributions that don't have outliers. Mode is typically only useful for knowing a most commonly occurring value, like when trying to pick a majority, or if you have a quantitative thing, right? You know, if it's like favorite color, you can't take the average of purple, green, and red, right? That doesn't make any sense. You just say, okay, which one is the most frequently occurring? And again, numerical summaries do not fully describe the shape of a distribution. You should always plot your data, so either a stem plot or a histogram or, you know, whatevs. That's that. For, let's see, 7.3. This is split into 2 halves. I'm wondering if I want to give the 7.3 assignment before we've done the other half or not. Let me go back and look at this again. No, we're going to wait till I've done the other half before we assign 7.3 stuff.
So what homework's due on Sunday?
So what's due on Sunday? Well, your activity, which you probably should have turned in here today, 7.2.
Okay.
I think that's it.
I think I turned that in with the class.
Oh, did we already do that? Collect that? Let me look.
I don't know. I did.
Yeah. Let's see. Problem set 2. Problem set 2 should be 7.2. So I know I took 7.1. Oh, I put 7.2 in both of these sets, huh? Okay, well then they should have already collected that, so I'm just going to delete or edit this one. and nothing is gonna be due then.
Perfect. On Sunday? No homework.
Yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah.
King.
Study for a quiz.
Study for your quiz, do your submission for your IA,
Oh, yeah.
if you haven't done that.
Dad, do you want something?
No, Wednesday next week, but since you don't have another assignment, you might as well get her done, you know?
Mine's good. Does it make sense?